A new day has begun, something to shout about. Let it be known that our God saves, our God reigns. We lift you up, up. Let it be known that love has come, love has won. We lift you up, 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 Nothing can stop us now, no one can keep us down. We found our voice again, oh, oh, oh. No need for fear and shame, there's power in His name. Come on, let freedom reign. Let it be known that our God saves, our God reigns. We lift you up, up. Let it be known that love has come, love has won. We lift you up, 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 oh. Whoa. We lift your name up, higher and higher. We lift your name up. We shout your name now, louder and louder. We shout it out now. We lift your name up, higher and higher. We lift your name up. We shout your name now, louder and louder. We shout it out now. Let it be known that our God saves, our God reigns. We lift you up, up. Let it be known that love has come, love has won. We lift you up, up. Let it be known that our God saves, our God reigns. We lift you up, up. Let it be known that love has come, love has won. We lift you up, 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 oh. Let it be known, yeah. Oh, let it be known, yeah.
From urban streets to open plains, we are under one name. No one is lost or goes unseen, 'cause we're all loved by our King. This is nothing ordinary. There is power in the name we carry. Every nation, every tongue, welcome to the kingdom. All the rich, all the poor, all the people, all yours. We are daughters, we are sons, more than mortals. We are royals, we are yours. We
Awesome. And he's going to show up at different points in today's service. And at that time, we're all going to stand up and say our what's up together. But first, we're going to practice. So can everybody stand up? And on the count of 3, we will practice as a group. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, like the kids did better this week. You guys can do so much better. Like you can be as loud as you want. Yep, hold on, Ethan. Hold on, I know you are so ready. Okay, you gonna show them how it's done? All right, 1, 2, 3. So much better. On your mark, get set, go. Oh, good try. Okay, cheer them on, you guys. Like, you gotta have, oh, you can do it. All right, you got this. If I could get 2 teens to come help clean up the cheese balls. 2 teens. 2 teens. Keep going, you got 30 more seconds. Keep cheering them on. Like, the boys have 4. Come on, like cheer them on. You can do it. Oh. It's kind of tricky. Oh. Oh, that's okay. All right, okay, my kiddos, take 2 steps forward. 2 steps forward. Nope, not backwards, forwards. 1, 2. Oop, right there, 1, 2. Whoop, I'm gonna get hit with this cheese ball. All right, let's cheer them on. 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, stop. Oh.
So I'm going to share the Bible story before we go further into the rest of the morning. And I think I've been debating to do this. So mom or dad, if you need to help your little one, you can come too. But I wonder how many kids, what's the age, like 12, 11 and down, 12, 3 to 5th grade? Okay, that makes sense, I guess. If you're that age group, would you come on down? You guys can sit right here real close because I'm going to need some helpers. So come on, guys. Ethan, come on, guys. Going to sit right down here in the very front. Yep, you can sit right there. That's it. If you're 3 years old or up to 5th grade, come on down and sit right here in the front because I'm going to need some helpers. Let's see. The first thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need a Job because today's Bible story is about Job. Owen, would you help me? Would you come up here with me, Owen? He's too scared? That's funny. He's sitting with his legs crossed and Jason picked him up and he didn't uncross his legs. Would anybody else want to come up here and help me? I need a boy. No? Yes. Come on up. Can you stand perfectly still for me up here? Yeah? Okay, give me your hands. Up we go. So ladies and gentlemen, you stand right here and don't move, okay? Don't move. Sylvia, can we do this? She has no idea. Don't move. Stay right there. This is our Job. And Job was a guy in the Bible who God loved incredibly. Job loved God. Job blessed the Lord. And because Job and God had such an incredible relationship, Job had all kinds of things. Job had land. He had workers. He had a big family, a wonderful wife, and lots of children. You want lots of children someday? You're a little young to be thinking about being a daddy, aren't you? We should let you do 2nd grade before any of that happens, right? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Job was a big talker. And he had lots of things, but because Job loved God and God loved Job, somebody was very angry. I wonder if Tom would come up and help me by being the devil. Right over here, Tom. The devil. No, he's the devil. Not really. Right there, good. The devil hated Job because Job and God, I'll be God, were so close. They loved each other greatly. Well, that made the devil mad. So one day, the devil went to God. Here, devil. And the devil said to God, the only reason Job loves you is because you've done so much for him. You've given him land. You've given him a big family. You've given him lots of things. You guys are having a pointing contest. And so the devil said, if you take all of his stuff away, I bet Job will not love you anymore. And so the devil went away, and he did all kinds of things to Job. All kinds of things. Matter of fact, one day I'm going to need 3 helpers, and they can be boys or girls. Let's see. Is anybody here for the very first time? This is your first time here? You 3 ladies? How about, let's see, which ones of you took the offering? 2 of you took the offering. So let's take this little one here. Honey, I forget your name. What's your name? Yes, come on up here, honey. I'm not going to pull you up. You come up the stairs. So Job had some friends. Okay, I need 2 more friends. 2 more friends. How about you, sweetheart? And how about another boy? Is there another boy? Charlie. Come on up, Charlie. Job had some, servants, not friends. We aren't there yet. Job had some servants. And one day, his servants came running over to Job with some really, really bad news. Here, run over to Job. They had some really bad news. And the news was this. One servant said to Job, Job, while we were out in the field, some bad people came and they hurt all of your workers and they stole animals and I escaped with my life. Okay, you can run back and sit down, sweetheart. Give her a big hand clap. And then another worker came running to Job and said, Job, you're not going to believe it. While we were working, some bad people came and they burned down no, not me, her. Some bad people, they burned your crops and hurt your workers, and I escaped with my life. Run away now, run away. And then another worker came and said, I have some really bad news. All your children were in a big house. Oh, you're not standing still. Stand still, Job. They were in a big house having a big party, and the house came crashing down, and I have some bad news that your children aren't alive anymore, Job. And then his servant ran away. Let's see, I need one more girl. Come on up, sweetheart. And to make matters worse, Job's wife. Do you want to be married someday?
No.
No? Do you want to be married someday?
No. You should be married.
I am married. I am already married. Well, Job's wife came to him and she said, Job, this is crazy. Look at everything we've lost. We've lost our house. We've lost our friends and workers and animals. We've lost everything. And she said to Job, Job, will you just turn your back on God? Now stand right there, okay? Job, just turn your back on God, because you and God, you'd have no relation. God doesn't love you anymore. And then his wife went away. And then Job had some friends. I need 3 friends real quick. If you haven't been up here already, who hasn't been up here? 3 friends. Let's take these 2 girls here. And you. Come on up, sweetheart. Oh, yeah, look at the pretty girls. Unfortunately, these pretty girls are not very good friends. Sorry, guys. That'll teach you for visiting on a Sunday when we're doing this. These are Maletti girls. These are Maletti girls. Moletti. Look at that. And these friends came to Job. You're not a Maletti girl. You want to take an extra one home, Kevin, when you leave today? You have all girls. You want a boy? No, Sylvia wouldn't go for that. No. And the 3 friends came to Job and they said, Job, you've done something bad, haven't you? No. You don't want to tell us, that's what it is. But you've done something bad, and so God is punishing you. And then his friends went away. Thank you, girls. Okay, stay right here by me. Turn around and face everybody. Well, you know what, guys? Job could have got a stinky attitude, right? He could have gotten a stink bug attitude because he had so much and it all got taken away.
A stinky.
Yeah, stinky.
A stinkhead.
Yeah, he could have become a stinkhead. That's what he said. He could have gotten mad at his friends. He could have gotten mad at everybody around him.
A stink face.
A stink face. Of course, that's different than a stink head, but we'll talk about that later. You're sweet. He could have gotten really, really mad, but he didn't. Do you know what Job did? Job was very quiet. Show me how quiet Job was. And in his heart, Job decided, even if I die, I will continue to serve God. And he didn't get a stinky attitude. And you know what God did? God blessed him. He even had more land by the end of his life. He had more land, more animals. He and his wife had more children, and God blessed him incredibly. You know why? Because he didn't get a stink face, stink head attitude.
A stink eye.
A stink eye attitude. All right, give the kids a big clap. Thank you.
So when I brought this up to Pastor Darren that we should end VBS on a Sunday, I was like, our final Sunday is going to be a stink bug. It's not going to be a butterfly or a spider or all of the other like nice calm bugs that we talked about this week. It's a stink bug. So who's ever seen a stink bug? They're nasty. Like they're just flat out gross. Like, I don't know about you, but they stink. So we're going to be talking about how we don't want to be a stink bug in our Christian walk. We want to have a good attitude and not a stinky attitude. So if we're going to have a good attitude and not a stinky one, we need to be able to tell the difference. So I've got a few examples for us, and we're going to decide whether it's a PU attitude or a woo-wee attitude. So you guys, like some audience participation. So here's our first example.
Mom, can I please have a popsicle before dinner? But I want a popsicle.
Was that a PU attitude or a woo-wee attitude? PU. We don't want to have a stinky attitude. Like, we know that we shouldn't argue with our parents or complain, or like as adults, like if somebody tells us something that we don't like, we don't need to like walk off and pout. Like, we don't need a stinky attitude. So that's right, that one was a stinky attitude. All right, are we ready for the next one? All right.
It's okay that you pushed me. I forgive you.
All right. So is that a PU attitude or a woo-wee attitude? Awesome, right? So where my notes go? So we know that that's a good attitude to have, because if something happens or someone does something to you, we forgive them. And our last attitude.
Mom, I can't take out the trash right now. I'm busy. Fine.
Was that a PU attitude or a woo-wee attitude? PU. Yeah, thank you, Miss Allie. I'm sure that you wouldn't have any of those bad attitudes, right? Never. All right, let's give Allie a round of applause. Right, so when we're asked to help around the house, or if you have to do something and you don't want to do it, you don't get a tood, right? Little ones, do we get a tood with mom and dad ever? Of course not. Of course not. We're all good little children, right? So we know all about that. Like, right, we want to have an attitude like Jesus. And we know that Jesus, as a child, we see in the Bible that if his parents told him to do something, he didn't like go off and pout and I'm like, I'm not going to do it. He listened and he obeyed and he had a good attitude. And we want to be just like Jesus because that's our goal as Christians, is to be as Christ-like as possible. So we know some facts, though, about our walk as Christians. We know that bad days will happen. We see that, like in Job, we know that bad days are going to come, and how we respond with our attitude means the world, right? So, like your hair is going to mess up, you're going to get hurt, or as adults, something is going to happen at work or at home that you guys might think it's like the end of the world, or it's just extremely frustrating, but how you handle it with your attitude matters, because we know that like when we become a Christian, we're not promised a good life. We're not promised that everything is going to just go hunky-dory fine. We're not. But guess what? We know when we trust in God that we can do all things, right? So we know that the bad days are going to happen, and how we respond with our attitude matters. We don't need to have a pouty attitude and walk off, right, kids? Hey, right, kids? We're not going to have a PU attitude. We're going to respond positively, and how Jesus would respond, right? Like, even we know, like, Jesus, like, if the disciples disappointed Jesus, Jesus didn't, like, walk off and, like, sit on the ground and pout, because he's Jesus, and we want to be as Christ-like as possible. Like, he didn't even have a bad attitude when he knew he had to go to the cross. Like, I don't know about you, but I want to have a Christ-like attitude. Because I know there's days that, like, I know bad days are going to happen, but how you respond with your attitude matters. So our second point is your attitude is your choice. Right? Many people try to blame their attitude on others. Right? They're like, I'm only acting this way because this happened. Or, I know that this is going on, so it's okay that I have this attitude. And I'm here to tell you, it's not. Our attitude is our choice. We can choose to have a fantastic day even though something horrible is going on. Or you could choose to just sit down and let your attitude affect everyone around you. Because I don't know about you, like if I'm having like a bad day, and I'm going to tell you, just because of what I do doesn't mean that my attitude's always right. And I was preparing this, and I'm like, God, he checks my attitude at times. Like, I know my attitude affects others. So if I come in somewhere with a pouty attitude or like not wanting to talk to people or just because I've had a rough day, I know that my attitude's not Christ-like, but I choose my attitude. I can choose to make my attitude Christ-like, or I can choose to sit down and pout and whine because it's not going my way. Our attitude is our choice. Like, nobody can choose it to you, right? Like, it's like the little boy in church. Like, you guys have seen this, right? Or as a parent, trust me, I watch this in kids all the time, you ask them, stand up, okay, it's time to worship in church. Like, stand up now. We're going to stand up. And the little kid crosses his arms and goes, I may be standing on the outside, but guess what? I'm sitting on the inside. Trust me, that's how kids are. I've seen it happen. I'm sure you all can relate to that there's Sundays too even where maybe you're like, I don't want to be at church today, but I'm here because I know I have to be, and I'm not going to engage in worship. I'm sitting on the inside. You can choose your attitude. You can come into church ready and excited to worship, even though something may be going on around you. You can still choose to raise your hands in the midst of the bad day. Instead of standing in church, because trust me, I've been there too, holding your cup of coffee. That's me. So me. Sitting like this. Like, we can choose our attitude. No one can choose it for us. Our attitude is our choice. So we should have to choose every day to live as Jesus lived. It is a choice every single day when you wake up. So our last point is that we need to follow Jesus' example. So just like our power verse said today, that we must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. We all said it together. Choose the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. We follow Jesus' example. Like when he was a little boy, we've already mentioned this. He did it. He didn't walk away and disobey. He didn't sit there and pout. Because trust me, I'm sure you all have seen like a little child who their parents ask them to do something, and they sit there and they pout and they whine because they don't want to do it. But guess what, kids? Do we follow Jesus' example? Yes. So if your parents ask you to do something, should you do it and follow Jesus? Yes. And all the parents are like, thank Thank you. We know that Jesus was an awesome, he was a good little child because the Bible tells us that he listened to his parents. He followed what they told him to do. He grew up and did what God asked him to do without pouting. And I can guarantee you, it's not easy to have the right attitude when things go your way. It's not. But it's a choice. Even though we know when Jesus was on the cross and people came against him, and as he's on the cross, he's saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they've done. Even in the midst of hanging on a cross, Jesus had the right attitude. And I don't know about you, but I want that to be my attitude. I want to be as Christ-like as possible, and for that to be my attitude. And for me to follow Jesus' example. Because I can guarantee you, it's not easy to make the right choice to have the good attitude every day. We could walk around to be a stink bug, or stink head, or stink face. You could walk around with this sour look on your face. But we know that through Christ, we need to follow his example. Because that's what we're called to do as Christians, is to follow his example. It's not easy to do. We need God's help. So you wake up in the morning and you're like, God, I just need your help this morning. Every single morning, it's the first thing we should do is say, God, I need your help this morning. I need your help to have the right attitude, to make it through the day. Even though this is the end of our VBS Sunday, this doesn't just apply to kids. This applies to everyone. This isn't just for our little ones. This applies to every single person. That we don't want to be a stink bug, but we want to end and have the right attitude. So, as we get towards the close today, we're just going to stand. We're just going to bow our heads and close our eyes first, sorry. And if you're like, Miss Bailey, you were just really speaking into my life today that maybe I know I need to have an attitude check right now. That I just need God to make that choice, to choose to follow God every day, and need his help to have that right attitude. If that's you, I just want you to raise your hand. Just raise your hand. It can be a kid, you can be an adult, you can be whoever, that just thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome, you can put your hands down. We are going to pray and just ask God to just help us with an attitude, and just to change our attitude, and so that we are not a stink bug, but rather that we follow Christ's example, and that our attitude is our choice. All right, Heavenly Father, we just ask you today, God, that you would just be with us, Lord.